So since we need dry intro stuff, I got a new washer dryer this week. Which was quite the experience. The company that was supposed to deliver it, I didn't realize they were going to deliver it until the 1st of January. And then this guy with a very thick Polish accent calls me and he's just like, hey, we're and I can't even do it, but he's like, we're gonna, like, we're calling from this and this company, your landlord, and said her name, and he's just like, ordered a new washer dryer for your unit, and so we're gonna come and deliver it tomorrow. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, at what time? And they confirmed the time. Like, sweet. So, and they're like, we'll also remove the old one because the old one had like a crack in the back of the barrel for the dryer, so it was like tearing clothing occasionally. And it was like, it was fine. It worked most of the time. It was just kind of loud. It was really the issue. Anyway, so they show up and they take the old units out, and one of the and it's two guys working, right? And it's a younger guy and an older guy. The younger guy walks in, he goes, "Oh my god, do you make YouTube videos?" I was like, my setup isn't exactly incognito. It's like a triple monitor setup with like multiple cameras, a big ass microphone. I'm like, yeah, is that obvious? So he starts talking to me about Clash of Clans and Genshin Impact while he's like taking apart my washer dryer. Unplugs the whole thing, puts it on a dolly, and wheels it out the door. Great. 2 minutes later, he sheepishly comes back in with his coworker, and he's like, "So we can't install your new washer dryer today." I'm like, "Okay, why?" And they're like, "Well, we opened up the box and it got crushed in shipping somewhere." I'm like, great. So it's like just destroyed. And they're like, yeah, it's destroyed. They're like, it's 1 in 50 apparently. This happens.
How do they not notice from the box that it was crushed?
How do you destroy a freaking washing and drying? Like, how?
So I have a friend who works in warehousing, and he says like any number of things could happen, but it's usually like a fridge got dropped on it.
Oh gosh.
So
all right.
like he works in like appliance warehousing, and he's like, yeah, it's 1 in 50. 1 in 50 appliances get destroyed somewhere in the shipping line.
Wow.
And so I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm like, so when can you deliver that actual one? And he's just like, well, the warehouse is closed until the 3rd, so we'll deliver it on Tuesday, which is the 3rd. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I'll be streaming, but like it'll be okay. And so then they come back around on the 3rd, and they deliver the washer dryer, and everything's fine while I'm streaming. So I'm sitting here just like talking at chat while there's just like 2 guys installing a washing machine like right across me. And then when they're finally done, I get up and I go over, and like, this is the fanciest washer dryer I think I've ever seen in my life. It's got like a touch screen on it and stuff. It's crazy, like the tech in this thing. It's got like soft LED lights. When you open the door, it like lights up the inside, and crazy tech in this thing. And one of the guys just like, dude, this is so cool. I just got to install a washer dryer while someone was streaming on Twitch. And then the guy working with me goes, "So you fucking children." And then he's just like, and he points at his boss and he goes, "If everybody in the world was like him, none of you would have a job because nobody would think video games are cool."
Yeah, that reminds me of the story when we moved into this house, and I have my setup in the living room, right? And it's also like, as you said, really noticeable. And the door to the garden was like not opening properly, like it was catching on something, so we had somebody come around to fix the door. And obviously they also showed up like in the middle of my stream, and I was just sitting here. They were like kneeling outside looking in and just looking, and like just also like really confused. And then when they were done, they came over. So what are you doing here right now? I'm like, yeah, well, so I'm live streaming right now. All of those people over there in the chat, they're all watching right now, and I'm playing this game, and there's a whole back and forth about how cool this is, and I just turn it into like a YouTube video as well. It's, I don't know, yeah. But
there was also, definitely a part of me that was tempted to be like, "Hey, dude, come over here." But I didn't really want to mess with their work schedule.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, no, I've had that experience as well, and it's really funky in a way, because it's like, you know, you sit in your little room like not doing anything, and then you have people come by and they're just like, "Oh my god, your job's like so cool."
Like, my butt hurts. I've been sitting here for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Anyway, time to use that standing desk.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Wasn't that day, but you know what doesn't get live streamed on the internet is episode 51 of the Halcyon Frequency podcast, airing January 7th, 2023. That's the year that it is right now. I'm blind and I'm hosting. We got a bit of a full house today because we're going to be doing our favorite games from last year. Non-specific order, non-specific year game came out. Just our favorite games that we played last year. So I'm going to start up at the top with introductions here. 2D Kiri is here. How are you?
Hello, I'm all right. Thank you.
Belannaer is also here. How's things?
I am here, yes. I'm doing good. Not sick anymore, which
And
is great.
FG Squared is beneath me, and she held up this whole recording with the biggest hype train in history. How's things?
Yeah, I apologize once again. This is indeed the podcast that we're recording after the level 19 hype train. I have not recovered, but I'm here, and I am most certainly the most awake I've been all day now.
I have a question. Did the hype train double tap?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Very much
Good.
so.
Rule number 2 of Zombieland.
Yep.
Not a rule of Zombieland, but also present at this podcast is Whoa Jess. How's things?
I do not like zombies, but okay. I'm okay. I'm sleepy, but I'm here. I,
don't like
unlike FG, am tired.
If you don't like zombies, that's why you double tap. Make sure they're dead.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, like I said at the beginning of this episode, this is going to be a little bit of a different episode to our normal episodes of this podcast. We are talking about our favorite games of the year. So we need to kind of figure out how we're going to round table this because, there's 5 of us in this room, and we each have selected 3 games. So I'm assuming that we've written them in this document in roughly the order that we want to talk about them. So should we just kind of start at the bottom of the list and work up, start at the top and work down? How do we want to do this?
I may have done them in reverse.
Roll a
Belannaer did them
die.
in reverse. Okay.
But it doesn't really matter, the order, to be honest.
Okay. Well, we can talk about our games in the order that they overlap as well. So I'm just trying to figure out ordering here because this was not something that we discussed before we started recording.
Yeah, we
Just
just
pick
go
one and let's go.
round in a circle, and then if there's overlap, the other person weighs in as well.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
we want to go in the order that it's listed in the document, like person speaking, or in the order that we are in the chat room here?
I think the chat room might be fine.
Okay. Jess, pick a game.
I'm at the
What would you
bottom.
talk about?
Let's see. Well, my first game on my list was Dorfromantik, which nobody else put down.
I think
Yeah.
if
I
we were
don't-
doing top 10s, Dorfromantik would have been around 7 or 8 for me.
Yeah, same for me.
I don't know how much into too detail to go because I know we are on a limit.
Talk about the game, talk about why you liked the game, and talk about why the game is on your list. And
Sure.
any of us that played the game can also bounce off and talk back at you about the game and why we liked or disliked the game as well.
Sure. Well, okay, so Dorfromantik is a peaceful building strategy puzzle game developed and published by Tucana Interactive. It was released into its full 1.0 version in April of 2022. And since then, it has gotten overwhelmingly positive reviews. I have loved every iteration of Dorfromantik, but 1.0 was really wonderful. And so the main goal of the game is to basically get as many points as possible while playing by placing tiles in a way that satisfies the quests issued by the game. And so this works out to form amazing landscapes and cityscapes, and you build your own beautiful world. And I think this is kind of why I like it so much. Like it's so wonderful to look at. It's just very, very peaceful, and it's a great way to pass some time. And also, it can be kind of an idle game, if you know what I mean, because you don't have to play. It's not on a timer.
Just kind of let it sit.
Yeah, and so it's a really good game to take breaks to, or just get lost in. It's just such a good game.
Yeah.
I love the little world you can create.
One of
The
my
art
favorite
is
things.
beautiful.
Go on, Kiri.
Oh, sorry. It was just the art is beautiful. That's my input.
One of my favorite things about Dorfromantik is the kind of way it separates people. It's like it's either, oh, this game is so relaxing and wonderful, or oh my god, this game is stressful. And it really like you see the two different personality types clash. It's really funny to me.
I'm kind of the both ends. Like it starts chill, but then it's like, I need this piece
Yeah.
to complete this thing, and I need to get this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it does get stressful as you go, but that's the puzzle aspect.
Yeah.
And I just love puzzle games, so I think that's why for me it is both like challenging and relaxing at the same time.
I feel
I'm
really.
just, go on.
I was just gonna say I feel really bad when it comes to Dorfromantik because I didn't forget about the game, not at all, because I actually just a couple of days ago played around.
I
But
saw that.
I completely forgot. Like for me, it's already like so long ago that it came out that I totally put it into 2021, like games releasing and playing. Even though I played probably tens of hours of the game.
I also thought it was 2021, but I was scrolling through my list of games played by recent activity
Mm.
and was like, "Oh, this was 2022." All right,
Yeah.
it's on my list.
Yeah, I completely
makes
forgot.
FG, do you want to pick a game off your list?
Yeah. I actually have games on my list that nobody else has. So the first one I'm gonna pick is Potionomics. So
I'd be willing to bet if Arch or Sui were here, Potionomics would be on their list.
Sui would probably put it on. I would guess. Yeah,
I would as
probably.
well if I actually played it. I loved the demo though.
Yeah, it was really good. So Potionomics is obviously a potion brewing game, but it has more. It has more of a story than, say, for example, Potion Craft. So you play as this character who takes over the potion shop from their supposedly dead uncle, and the uncle left her with lots of debt. So she has to like make potions to pay off the debt, and at the end of each week, I believe it was, because the debt is so big and like she has to consecutively just pay bigger and bigger amounts back of the entire debt. They funnily enough coincide with the prize money for the competitions that happen at the end of each week, and so you have to win those competitions to like get back your to pay off the debt and to be able to keep the shop and keep working there, basically. And the game has like a brewing mini game. It has a haggling mini game that's actually a turn-based card game, which I actually really enjoyed, and I say that as somebody who doesn't enjoy card games at all. And what actually really got me though was like I really like the art because it's like the super cartoony style, which is totally not everybody's cup of tea, but I really liked it. And the writing was just I don't know, I laughed so many times during the game just because the writing was so funny and the characters were so funny and cute and just kind of adorable. And I don't know, overall it was a really, really, really wholesome experience. The only thing is there is a little bit of a time factor. There's like time pressure because you have to win those competitions and you have to get ready, so you have to make the potions to win the competition to be able to get the money, so you can't take your time to do it. But besides that, it was just such a fun experience. I don't know, I really enjoyed it, and I totally didn't realize that this game was coming out. As like Belle, I played the demo and then I was like, oh my god, this game is amazing. When is this coming out? Oh, in 2 weeks. Oh my god, this is great. Let's go.
It was like an actual demo, not a vertical slice pitch.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it was really good.
All right, I guess I'm next in the list. So I'm going to talk about another game that I don't think anybody else here played this year, or last year rather, which is Atari 50. This came out in November, and this is a kind of a weird one because it's a game collection, right? And why would you be putting a game collection on your top 3? Well, so this is Digital Eclipse. This isn't a normal game collection. Digital Eclipse is pretty well known for putting out various different anniversary collections of games. They recently did the Cowabunga and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection. They also did the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection, which had a bunch of different Street Fighter games in it, the Disney Classics Collection, the SNK 40th Anniversary Collection, and various other collections in the past. And the thing about Digital Eclipse collections is it's not just, here's these games, go play them. They package them with things. They package them with concept art, and in some cases, interviews with developers. And Atari 50 is more than that. Atari 50 is an interactive museum. It includes high-quality 3D renders of original box arts, original manuals, original marketing material from every era of Atari, starting all the way back in like the Pong and arcade days when everything was still black and white, all the way up through the console days, the home computer days, the Atari Lynx days when they had handheld consoles, through the video game crash, and then into modern day. And the game has a ridiculous number of included game classics from every era of Atari, from arcade all the way up through every era. So it has those very well presented and emulated games, but it also includes a handful of reimagined games. So there's a game called Vector Sector, which is like Asteroids on crack. There is a Haunted House Remastered, which is kind of the 2D platformer Haunted House game, but all prettied up and plays like a modern indie game that you would spend $5 on. There is a remake of Breakout, which is just a really good Breakout. You know, you bounce the ball back and forth and you knock stuff down. There's a Yar's Revenge remake, which is super flashy and psychedelic and a lot of fun. And I like arcade games, and so it's for me it's a collection of a bunch of neat arcade games, but I'm also an uber nerd about game preservation and just the history of games, and I love listening to developers talk about games. And there's something that's kind of neat seeing all of these Atari developers that are, you know, in like their 50s to 70s in some cases now. Like, these guys are getting up there, talking about games that they made in the 80s and how games were made in the 80s. And like, you know, these were engineers, not game designers, being told, okay, make a thing move on the screen and make it fun. You have 2 weeks. And hearing them talk about how they designed the boards and making all of that just in an archival sense is fascinating. The collection of games is absolutely unparalleled. It's phenomenal. And the reimagined games are a fun little kind of cherry on top. And I've had a lot of fun watching it over the past week. I've put like 2 hours into the thing now. Just almost all of that was just spent watching these documentaries. But it also just, the interactive nature of it is just super engaging, because like as you're going through these different sections of like the museum section of the game, where it's just like you're watching videos and then it'll bump you into live gameplay, you play a little bit of the game, and then it'll bump you back into more videos, and then you'll have concept art in between. You get little achievements for going through the different sections of the museum. It's just a super enjoyable timeline of history interspersed with well presented archives of games from that time period, combined with it's just a lovely package. I'm extremely happy with it.
Yeah, hopefully there's gonna be more similar things. Recording the history is really important. And like you said, those people who were working on this they're getting older, and if you don't record it now, it's gonna be gone in like 10, 20 years. There's no one to remember.
And a lot of these guys are still working in the industry too. Like it'll say like their name, like where they worked previously, and then in some cases where they're currently working. Like some of these guys are like working at Epic, and it's like they were working on arcade games at Atari in the 70s. So
that's very cool.
It's neat. It's a bit on the pricey side, which is I think why it didn't make a bigger splash. And also it's Atari, which makes it hard for it to make a bit of a splash, because a lot of people look at Atari collections and they shy away.
Also,
but it's easily worth the price of admission. Like I feel like I bought my way into a museum. Go on, FG.
I was just gonna say, like, I love like retro games and that sort of stuff, but like Atari was also not so big in places outside of North America. Like, for example, in Europe, like I don't know anybody who actually had an Atari. Like even like
neither do I actually.
Like my
I don't know anybody either.
I have one, and I played a little bit as well, but I definitely like other Commodores and some of the other ones.
For me, the main connection I have with Atari was just through the arcade games, because like when I was going to arcades when I was younger, there was still like, you know, Centipede, Galaga.
Yeah, see, arcades are also not a thing in Europe, so
no,
they weren't really a thing for me either.
Yeah, so no connection there, unfortunately. Though some Atari games are actually really fun. Like I've been watching, like I mostly like consume Atari through like watching like retro game collectors and do videos about the like those games, and like, you know, they go out and obviously like go buy up the games and whatnot. And There's some really cool games on that system. It's just I don't have a personal connection to it. Mine starts with the consoles after that, and but then simultaneously with like Commodore, with the Commodore and that sort of stuff. Like those were like the gaming machines at the time, like in Germany at least.
Belannaer, do you want to pick something from your list?
Yeah, sure. So I have a little curveball as well, and I picked a Warhammer in like the whole war of Warhammer, all of it. They had several games this year. There was a Total War, Warhammer 3. There was Dark Tide. There was the Teeth Blood Shooters Blood Teeth. There was DLCs for several of the games. Chaos Gate got one. Gladius got one. And bunch of them.
The Year of the Hammer.
Yeah, there was a lot of it. And then they also released on like the miniature side, which I got back into myself on June, so 6 months is now. And I've been painting and modeling off stream mostly as a kind of hobby. But they also released Horus Heresy, which is the 30k version of Warhammer. They released that as the board game, and they released a bunch of other like new things. And then there's of course like just not the games that came out this year, which I played a lot. Like Total War Warhammer 3 was my most streamed game this year, surprisingly. I didn't expect I played it that much, but apparently
mine too.
And I really enjoyed it. I kind of want to go back now that I looked at it. It's like, why didn't I play more of this? But yeah, there's also like they announced the TV series with Henry Cavill. There's a new edition of the Warhammer 40k 10th edition coming next year, and a bunch of other things. Like they've been having like a really amazing year this year, and it seems to be going into the next year. Like the Warhammer as a hobby is just exploding, and I imagine once that TV series comes out, it's gonna be like even bigger. But yeah, that was probably one of my big highlights this year as a gaming.
I mean,
Kiri, do you want to pick something? Or should we continue with that one?
I was just gonna say really briefly, and it's gonna continue this year too, right? Because Rogue Trader and that sort of stuff is also coming out.
Rogue Trader, Space Marine 2, and so on is coming out as well.
Ooh, Space Marine, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
God, I'm so excited about Space Marine.
Yeah,
please don't be bad. Please don't be bad.
You know what that just wants me to be like? I just want to see Total Biscuit play Space Marine 2.
I want Total Biscuit to play a lot of games.
Yeah, that too, yeah. And comment on a lot of things, but yeah.
Man, his video on NFTs would have been fantastic.
Ooh. Yeah.
Kiri, do you want to select something from your list?
Yeah, so I put Card Shark on there because I thought it was just absolutely amazing how the gameplay worked. It was super innovative. So it's a game where you learn card tricks and how to cheat at cards, and you play through a story. And the game teaches you. So you could actually then take a set of cards and do that trick. Except for I can't because it's too difficult to remember. But it's super cool how it worked. And it's got really nice art style as well. And there are different difficulty settings. So I started out at medium. I was okay for the beginning, and then I had to reduce it to easy because it just got too difficult. But it was really, I was impressed how they made those mechanics work. And I was playing with a controller, which was really good. And it was fascinating just learning about card tricks and cheating and how it works and shuffle and fold and I don't know what. So that was super, super cool.
I really wanted to play this one, and I don't remember why I didn't. I think I requested a key and then never heard back.
I think I was in the same boat, actually.
And I just kind of forgot about it, but I really, really, really wanted to play it.
Yeah, it's a cool game, and it's not that long, but the story is cool with unexpected plot twists. So it's a good journey with amazing gameplay.
This is gonna be the year to be easy to forget games because there's been so many good games and so many things to play.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So I think that there's a real world where Card Shark becomes my game of the year for 2023 that came out in 2022. Because I also really want to play Card Shark, but like we said earlier, it just kind of got caught in the wake of things. But I seem to remember there was also like a lot of games coming out around that exact time as well. Like it was a busy season, so it was easy to miss stuff. But you know, it's It's made by a developer that's been around for a while. They made the Reigns games before, which are actually games I've played on my phone. So it'd be fun to play another one of their games. So now, since we've looped around, Jess, what is your second pick for favorite game of 2022?
Well, you might have seen that my list grew because while FG was talking, I thought of another game. And so I guess I'll let you guys pick. Do you want to hear about the one that I enjoyed streaming or the one that I just personally enjoyed?
Jess's favorite games of 2022.
I want to know about Jess.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed them both.
Kind of want both.
Just one was a really good stream experience. But so just what it is Dome Keeper and Cult of the Lamb. I don't know which one to talk about.
Do both.
Just
No, we don't have time.
Quick fire.
Do one and then make the other one a rapid fire.
Okay.
Honorable mentions.
Yeah. So my second-ish, it's like in the middle, favorite game this past year to play was Dome Keeper, which was a wave-based survival mining game, kind of tower defense-y. It released in September of 2022, and it was super satisfying to play, really beautiful to look at, and it was difficult. But you were tasked with protecting your dome from waves of attacking monsters. You do this by mining the earth below your dome. You collect resources, you deliver them back to your dome to issue upgrades. And in the version I played, the ultimate goal was to unearth an artifact and deliver it back to the dome and to escape the planet, but I think there might have been some updates since. But this one I love games where you dig. I really do. They're just so fun to me.
You dig them?
So, yeah, I dig them.
Sorry. I
really do. I don't know what it is. I just like if I dig in it, I like it.
Yeah, it reminded me of
And
the
so-
game
You heard of Dwarf,
which was amazing back in the day as well.
No, I haven't heard of it.
shit, I played Motherload.
Yeah, Motherload was amazing. And this one reminded me of that, and I was like, oh yes, this is gonna be good. I played the demo, and I loved it, and then I played the full
did you
version as
ever-
well.
Oh god, what is the name? I'm gonna think of a game in about 10 minutes and then randomly scream it out. Load Runner! That's the game I was
Yes, Load Runner is great as well.
Mm,
Old game.
yep, I played that. You know what?
Yeah, Chad actually was telling me that I need to play Motherload.
You
They
do
said
need
if
to
you
play.
like this game, you need to play Motherload.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you like
same
Dome
to
Keeper,
me.
you will love Motherload as well.
You know what the worst thing is? I
Mm.
completely forgot about Dome Keeper. I feel so bad because I loved that game too, and I didn't put it on my list, and now I feel horrible.
That's the second game I've mentioned that you said that, FG.
Yeah.
So now, Jess, do you want to hit us with your honorable mention?
Sure. That would be Cult of the Lamb, which I know a lot of us had issues with, and I shared those
Mhm.
concerns like simulation sickness stuff and also coloring issues. All that aside, I really enjoyed it. It is kind of hard to classify in my mind, like what kind of genre it is, because it has two different phases. Like you would have your base building / farming / like decorating phase, and then you would have your dungeon crawling phase, and it bounced
So-
between those really nicely.
Where's the motion sickness phase?
All over.
Okay, just checking.
It just has screen shake that you can't disable, and just iffy stuff like the background moves weirdly and whatnot.
The camera moves the entire time.
Yes.
Even if you
Yeah.
stand still.
Mhm.
So I named the game the most disappointing of 2022.
No,
Yeah.
This-
I
I could see
Yep.
that. Streams of it make me motion sick, and I
Because
don't get
I
motion
would
sick
have
from those
loved
games.
it. It's like the whole gameplay loop is really cool. I like the art style as well, and just I'm so sad I can't play it.
I had to for parts of the game like just avert my eyes. Like I can't look at what I'm doing right now, and I would just talk to chat. But I really enjoyed it
Oh.
because for streaming, due to the integration, it had really fantastic integration that bugged out the first couple days. But basically, chat could join into a queue basically, and then I would draw names. You could through the integration, and then they were able to, if they were selected, design their character, like choose how they looked and everything, and then they would join the cult, and you could interact with them, and it was really, really, really neat. Like chat loved it, and they got so invested in the playthrough, and it was just a fun time. That's why I think it was my most streamed game of the year.
Wow.
Cool.
It's definitely the sound designer of the year that came out. All the sound.
FG.
Oh yeah, the soundtrack is good.
amazing.
FG, can you select a game off your list?
Yes. Number 2 for me was Dinkum, which kind of came out of nowhere, I think, for everybody, because it's like a single dev game, and it just kind of appeared, and like no promotion, no streamer key giveaways or anything like that, and I want to say I saw somebody play, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. There was nothing else around it, so this came out, I want to say July. And there was
Into
not
early access, right?
Yeah, it's early access, and there was nothing else like there was nothing really around it that came out that I wanted to play, and I was just like, all right, this kind of looks cool. The bit in Animal Crossing, Crossy, I don't know. It's like Animal Crossing in a way. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check this out. I'm gonna buy it for one stream. It's not very expensive. I'm just gonna buy it and see how I like it. And then I played it for like a bajillion hours. By now, I've played 70 hours. So Dinkum, so Dinkum is actually an Australian slang. So this is actually an Australian slang. It's by one person, James Bendon, and it's like Animal Crossing, but with a free cam, 3D, and what if it were Australia? So everything
and also
is
Minecraft.
A little bit Minecrafty, because yeah, it's not voxel based, but I guess the ground is like the terraforming, because you dig out cubes.
You dig out blocks and you place blocks.
You play block, yeah, but nothing else is voxel based, because everything else in Minecraft is
Yeah.
voxel based, right? But yeah, in this game, it's only. Oh God, there's a cat. Sorry, I got entered by a cat. Anyways, it's like a sleeper hit for me, because it came out of nowhere, and I want to love Animal Crossing, but I just don't. For some reason, I just can't get into it, and I want to love it. But I loved Dinkum. It's so fun to play. Get all your villagers on there. Design. I normally hate designing in games. Like, you give me like a base to design, and it just gets so tedious. But in Dinkum, I'm like upset that there is not enough different decoration things for me to decorate with, which is so unusual for me. I don't know. It's just it's so good. It's one person that also makes it really impressive. It's early access. It's somewhat slow to update. It has had one big update where they added one new villager that you could get on your island. So everybody gets an island that is randomly generated. And they've added one new villager that you can get. There was a small Christmas update with some Christmas decorations that you could get. You could meet Santa, chilling at the beach. But yeah, so development's a bit slow, but it's if you love Animal Crossing and you just want more freedom and you want not being tied to the real-time clock, which is so love it. It just has normal, like just days kind of move like in Stardew. It's just, I love it. It's so good. It's I want to play more of it. There's just not much. There's just nothing I can do right now, and I want to play more of it. So fun.
You know, as somebody who really likes base building, I actually didn't really enjoy it that much in Dinkum. I don't know why. It was just really tedious.
Yeah, it's quite slow for sure. I really enjoyed.
I loved
in
it.
Dinkum as well, and
Yeah.
I really liked playing it, but for some reason I played something else, and that's one of the games I really want to go back from this year.
Yeah, same Bell.
It very much seems like a vibes game and less of a progression game.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're playing it for the vibes, it just works. If you're playing it for the progression, go play any other game like it.
I mean, it definitely has that progression thing as well, because you unlock new things when you get the new villagers and new tech and so on. So you do get some of that as well.
Yeah, it's just very slow and chill. It's like one of those. It's one of those games where it's like super good. You just play it, chill, and chat with Chad. It's great for that.
Mm-hmm.
So is it my turn to take one?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So if we were doing these in top threes, but it's in no particular order, this would actually be my favorite game of the year. This is Citizen Sleeper. Citizen Sleeper was a game that I got extraordinarily excited about when I saw the initial footage, because it had many things I love in role-playing games. It had dice, it had large amounts of character dialogue, and it was a sci-fi setting. And I loved the immediate aesthetic. And it was from it's from a developer named Jump Over the Age, who made a game called In Other Waters, which was a game that I adored about 80% of, and then was extremely bored the rest of it, because it had some pacing issues. It was just, I would say, about 2 hours longer than I would want a game like In Other Waters to be, which was very much a visual novel. Whereas Citizen Sleeper is in my opinion, one of the closest thing, possibly the perfect representation of living life with a chronic disability. The way the game works mechanically is it's a dice game where every day you roll your dice, and that's the dice you get for the day. And you have to put those dice into different tasks for the day, and depending on the number you get on the dice, that's the odds you have of succeeding said task.
That's too real.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. There is no failure states in the game. So regardless of what you do, what dice you get, you cannot actually lose, and you will always get a canonical ending. And it's not possible to lock yourself out of anything. The game presents it in a way where it seems like it feels like you're playing an XCOM style game where it feels like there are failure states. There is no failure state. You'll just get a different dialogue box if you fail. Now, the game itself is utterly goddamn gorgeous. The character art is incredible. The music is beautiful, and it has some of the best writing I've seen in a video game. Just flat. And this is also a year where NORCO came out, and I feel similarly about NORCO, but this even eclipsed NORCO for me. The idea of the game is you are a android type person with a human consciousness. The human leased their consciousness temporarily to a corporation to put themselves in cryosleep for 200 years, and their current consciousness would be put into this temporary android, and the android then works in the mines on asteroids. And this android that you play as escapes in an explosion, a rigged explosion, because once they're in these android bodies, they realize quite quickly that, oh, when my life ends, I die, and the original me that I'm a copy of gets to live. So very quickly, it's a kind of conundrum of, well, what do I do? Do I just live out this horrible life of slave labor and then let some other person live? No, I'm going to try and escape. So the game talks about revolutions and various other things, and you escape and you end up on this space station called the Eye, where you're sort of accepted into society but judged at a distance. And in order to stay alive, you need prescription meds, which you get from the corporation, which keeps these androids alive. And there's only one person on the station that can get it to you, and they're affiliated with a gang. Good luck. So you're doing odd jobs, working for people, meeting people. It's got kind of a visual novel side to it, where there's long dialogue sessions with long splitting dialogue trees, kind of Disco Elysium-esque in that way. But it's extraordinarily engaging. It has some of my favorite characters I've seen in a video game, period. It has some incredible moments, and it's the only game that's managed to get such an emotional reaction out of me. I was on the floor crying, like literally sitting on the floor against my dresser crying while streaming. So this is a game that I'm looking forward to play through a second time to try and get a different ending, but I'm simply waiting until I forget enough of it that I can just simply enjoy the dialogue again. I'll be playing through it again in a couple of months, probably.
Yeah, Citizen Sleeper was a what's the word? So Game Maker's Toolkit, Mark Brown, it was an honorable mention. There we go. For Game Maker's Toolkit, Citizen Sleeper. I want to try it.
It's my favorite sci-fi story of the year. It's my favorite story of the year. And one of the most personal stories I think I've ever seen in a video game. So
for me, Citizen Sleeper is the game from this year that I want to actually definitely still go and play.
Yeah, both that and
wait
NORCO.
3 more months until they get the other DLC in. There's free DLC. They were originally going to charge for them, but there's I think 4 free extra stories that are being added into the main campaign. So just wait for that and play it. It's also on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Belannaer, you want to pick something to talk about?
Yeah, I can talk about Elden Ring, I guess. So I've been always a fan of the Souls games. All of the Souls 1, 2, 3, Sekiro. I actually didn't play Bloodborne. I really want to, but since it's a console exclusive, maybe one day we'll get a PC version. But yeah, Elden Ring came out this January, I think. No, not a year ago, January, and it pretty much took over my life for a few hundred hours. And I was very suspicious how they're gonna translate like Dark Souls into an open world, because like Dark Souls 1 especially, it's like a masterpiece of like level design for like action exploration game, because everything is like super interconnected and you can go different ways, and you can basically pick direction you want to go, and then you probably end up where you need to go eventually. And taking that into like a fully open world, similar to like what the Breath of the Wild and some other games did, and still keeping that level design. I was very worried that they would have just ruined it basically, but they did an amazing job making it feel open world, but still have that amazing level design. Some areas are like just set dungeons that use the old design, but even in the open world, it kind of guides you through this path of like you see a shiny thing there, you go follow the shiny thing, and then you end up into a nice place and find some loot and just going around and exploring everything and trying different weapons and all of that. What's part of the Dark Souls experience? It's just the same as the old games, but just amplified like 10 times. And it's just literally, definitely was my number one game this year because of that.
I enjoyed watching it.
Dark Souls of the Wild.
It really is. And they're
Elden
making,
Ring.
they are making the new Armored Core next year, which I'm really hyped about. I never played a single Armored Core game, but being a fan
I
of all
can't
the
wait to
other
watch you
Souls
play
games, it's like, yes, please. When I saw the announcement, I just like jumped out of my chair almost. That's like, oh yes, I want this. Like mechas, which is the other thing I'm really into, and then they're making a new version of that. It's like, yes, yes,
Mechs
please.
with sad backpacks and people that whisper at you. Let's go.
Yeah.
And big swords.
So that might be my 2023 game of the year already. We'll see.
Kiri, do you want to select a game from your list?
Yeah. So this one came out in 2013 actually, and I was super late to the party, but I wanted to reduce my backlog a bit last year, and I played Papers, Please for the first time. And the reviews on Steam are overwhelmingly positive. They're not kidding. It's amazing. And I don't know. So you play as a border control person, and you have to check people's documents. And I love that as a person who likes lists and correctness. And I just had so much fun going through the rules and then saying, oh, wait, you don't have the required documents. No, you've got to leave. And then playing as Dark Kiri, being bribed by those people trying to cross the border, not having the required documents. Then I take the bribe and I still don't let them pass. So I had I know, but I had an amazing time with it. It didn't quite manage to convey the feeling of oppressiveness and I don't know, the world's on fire, everything's horrible. But then afterwards I watched the short film and that was incredible, and that made me feel super bad and sad and just everything. But during the game I just had the best time.
Fun game.
Yeah,
Great
definitely.
classic.
You might be a
that's good
Finnish
one.
bureaucrat.
Feels bad when you see the reports, but don't feel bad at the time.
Yeah.
Oh my
loudspeaker, whatever,
gosh.
all of that.
Jess, do you want to select a game from your list?
I just thought of another one that's not on my list, but it's a Lucas Pope game.
too late.
And
No,
you're talking about Lucas Pope.
We're
What?
running out of time.
I know. Well, Papers, Please is Lucas Pope. Return of the Obra Dinn was actually my all-time favorite of 2022. I forgot to put it down.
2022. It's 2023 now, though. So you don't
Yeah,
get
but
to
I
change your
played
mind.
it in 2022, and it like how did this? How did I forget to mention this one?
Okay, well then talk about that and erase your other one. That's fine.
No, but also Dwarf Fortress.
Here's the thing. 3 games.
I know. Yeah.
You had one job, and that was select 3 games before we record.
There's
Jess.
so many good games.
I
She
know.
did select
I
3
wanted to do
before we
10,
recorded.
But like 3. Jess?
I mean, I'm not going to talk about it, but
What's the last game on your list?
Dwarf Fortress.
Okay. Should
Well, so I made a little note in the document because a bunch of us have this on the list.
Well, it's you and me and Belle have it on the list.
Yeah, we can knock it all out together.
Yep.
Okay, we all talking
Three
about Dwarf
birds,
Fort
one
now?
stone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why is Dwarf Fortress on your list, Jess?
I had to think about this one a lot.
I was gonna say that sigh pretty much says it all.
I really had to think about it, and I've had a terrible time trying to describe why I can't put this game down. But I think it comes down to this. As a gamer who absolutely loves base building and digging, the mystery behind the exploration of such a deeply simulated fantasy world sets my imagination into overdrive. And by the game's design, I feel completely empowered that to make the iteration of my world anything that I want. But then at the same time, I love the fact that my fort is just like nothingness in a whole wide world of actively evolving history. It's not at all player-centric. The game doesn't react to what the player's doing or the player's choices necessarily. It's just simulating, and
Yeah,
I just want to keep playing.
For sure.
Yesterday,
wanna keep playing
realized
and
I
building.
killed a whole family of Ettins, and I feel really bad
Oh,
because the last Ettin that showed up was listed as Ettin child, and then I
Aw.
realized that its older sister and its mom was on my kill list, and now I feel real bad.
Sounds like Dwarf Fortress. It was
Yeah.
actually the game I started streaming with. Like the first few months or 6 months, I was on almost nothing but Dwarf Fortress. That was kind of interesting going back after so many years. And also, outside of streaming, I played like 10, 15 years ago. I literally played thousands of hours of Dwarf Fortress. And then just didn't for some reason. And now that there's the Steam with the graphics and actual usable UI, which still needs work, to be honest. It's so fun being back to the game and all the new stuff that's been added and all the old stuff that's still in there. And just reliving those memories, but also making new memories with all the new stuff. Like having a Bronze Colossus pick up a soccer, a woolen soccer, and beat half of my fortress dead with that woolen soccer. Was an experience. It was just one-shotting everyone, punching them in the head, and they exploded. And then I was wondering why it was beating this one poet for like days. I was like, oh, that poet is really strong. Why is he surviving this fight so long? And then I noticed that it picked up a woolen soccer, and just kept smacking that poet with the soccer repeatedly. Because the sock doesn't do any damage really. It was just lying on the ground. Just slap, 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 slap. And then I thought it was good that, it's wielding a sock. I'm going to send my army. Because it's not going to kill everyone. Guess again. It can also kick, apparently. So I just kept kicking everyone, and everyone died.
yeah, I had a Bronze Colossus attack, and its signature move was knocking somebody down and kicking them in the head till they died.
Oof.
And it just made its way through the fort, kicking everyone to death in the head. And it was just like, this is brutal.
It's like a cheesy Street Fighter 2 player.
My experience was, because I actually was watching Belle, and I was like, wait, are you having the same thing that happened to me? Because I had a Glacier Titan that was made out of iron that was locked in a fight with an echidna on the edge of the map for 2 years straight.
So that's a bug. I can explain.
It is a bug. I know it's a bug, but the echidna also didn't die because it was also hitting it with an alpaca wool shirt. And I know technically the bug with echidnas is that they roll up into a ball, but this one didn't even roll up into a ball. It was just locked in a fight with them because the Glacier Titan didn't do enough damage, and by the thing it was done, like the echidna's like stamina skill was so big, it took the echidna 3 years to recover enough stamina to get up and walk away.
I'm gonna just say this. Dwarf Fortress is on my list because it's Dwarf Fortress, and this is the only time I really get to put Dwarf Fortress on my list as a new release. So I don't think I need to explain more than that. I'm sure we'll talk about Dwarf Fortress many more times in this podcast going forward. So FG, could you tell us your last game on your list?
Yeah. Quick note, DF is also technically on my list, just not in the top 3. but it's on the top 7 list, so I have a video on YouTube. But my top game of the year actually is a game that came out in like February, and while everybody was like busy streaming like Elden Ring and playing that, I just played Expeditions Rome, which is a CRPG. It's the third in the Expedition series, so there's Conquistador, Viking, and then Rome. And so it's a CRPG, but it's fully voiced. So all characters are voice acted, which is so amazing for streaming. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even picked it up for streaming because too much text to read out. And it's an alternate history. Basically, the main character goes to Asia Minor with Caesar, and Caesar, like Julius Caesar, and Caesar gets killed. And then you take Caesar's place, basically, and kind of history plays out around that. And then you can become emperor later or not. And there's a whole bunch of like lots and lots of hijinks ensue and all that sort of stuff. And it was just, I love CRPGs, and it was voice acted, and it had an amazing Twitch integration that kept chat like super engaged, because people could do things to your battlefield, and they could, you know, spend bits to do more stuff and set fire. And it was just, the game itself was just so fun. I really liked the characters. It was just like overall like a story where I just felt like, oh my god, this like, it's like the feeling you get after reading a good book. It's like I just had this was an experience, and it was just so really, I just loved it so much. Like from start to finish, it was just so fun. And the sad thing is also a tiny bit, the biggest disappointment of the year, because the studio that made the Expeditions games, after Expeditions Rome came out, they disbanded. They put themselves together with some other people, and they made a new game studio to make NFT games. So we're never going to get another Expeditions game again, and I'm so sad and angry about that.
Disqualified. No.
Yeah, but it was so good. Oh, it was so good. And then they just go, they're going to do stupid NFT crap. Who cares? Like, it's over anyways, and it's crap and just scams anyways. I'm so angry about it because it was so good.
Yeah.
And they gave us like one tiny little DLC with like a new class, but that doesn't add any more story, and I just want more stories. Ugh. Sorry.
Yeah.
But what if you could write the stories, FG, and then sell it to other people? Kiri, what was the last game on your list?
Okay. The last game is a hidden gem that I found. I don't think a lot of people know about it. It's called Lost in Play. Came out in August, and it's an adventure puzzle game in beautiful, kind of Studio Ghibli style, I suppose, with funny and gorgeous animations.
Oh, I saw a trailer for this somewhere.
Yeah, so it's two children, siblings, and they go on an adventure. They're kind of stuck in their imagination, and you experience the weirdest things. But also, it's super funny and it's beautifully animated. The puzzles aren't particularly difficult, but it's about the journey and helping them and being with them. Really, it's super, super nice.
Yeah, that's cute. I remember seeing a trailer for that game pop up. I can't remember where, but
I recommend it if you want a nice, short,
define short
adventure puzzle game.
Like
Short. Let me check how long No, I think it was more than that.
Okay,
but it's not like
3 hours.
It's not like
short. But
okay, what? It's a bit over 6 hours, but then I hunted for all the achievements.
Fair. Okay, so 100% played.
Yeah, so I don't know, for 5 hours, 6 hours ish.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's gorgeous.
Chicken, maybe. I'm sold.
So we have a little bit of time left. I think that's everything. I haven't missed anything, have I?
No,
I don't think so.
I talked about my games, yeah.
If any of us have an honorable mention, just state it out loud right now over top of each other. I would like to
Return of the Obra Dinn.
Against the Storm.
How did I forget Return of the Obra Dinn?
And now that we're done with that, I just wanted to say, it's been a fun year. I think, like,
yeah,
at the very least for me, it was the first half of it was super rough. Like, it's been a rough year for me, which ended off really well. Anybody want to say anything about the whole year as a whole in kind of one sentence?
It's been amazing and super exciting with so many conventions and meeting people, business meetings, special projects for me. I've never been this busy in my life, but it was incredible.
It was personally a really stressful year. And just some really crappy stuff happened. Dream-wise, it was great, and I think the most pivotal point was getting diagnosed with ADHD, and I think moving forward, that's really, like, knowing is really going to help me.
It explains the cat distractions.
Or just cats.
And other things, yes.
Belle, Jess, do either of you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, it's definitely been like a year of up and downs. There's been a lot of good things and many bad things as well. Both health-wise and also our apartment kind of falling apart. But yeah, in general, it's been great. Like stream-wise, I've definitely had a ton of fun, and it's been better and better as always. Yes, every year. And also I've tried to play a lot of games, and then I forgot to play those games, and I played different games that I intended this year. It has been pretty much the whole year of that. And so many games I want to go back and actually play.
Yeah, I mean there were a lot of great games this year. Stream-wise and everything, like this year's better than last year, but I think for me, it's just been a really good mental health year. That's like what stands out to me. It came a very long way, and I believe that was also my ADHD diagnosis, which was the end of 2021/early 2022.
Yay for diagnosis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this has been a fun year running this podcast, and I look forward to doing this again next year. And this has been a fun little kind of, I guess, restart episode for the new year that we're now in. And look forward to recording an episode next week. But this has been episode 1 of the episode 51 of the Halcyon Frequency podcast. And if you would like to find more episodes of this podcast, you can find that on a podcast platform of your choice or on halcyonfrequency.com. But let's run from the top to the bottom now real quick. 2D Kiri, where can people find you?
You can find me, yes, on the internet as 2D Kiri, so you can search for that, or you go to 2dkiri.com.
Belannaer, where can people find you on the internet?
Belannaer on Twitch, Belannaer TV everywhere else.
I'm Blind. You can find me at BlindIRL basically anywhere or stupidskull.com. FG Squared, where can people find you?
FG Squared everywhere on the internet, except on Twitter. There's a sneaky underscore between the FG and the squared.
And Jess?
I'm super inconsistent. I got sneaky underscores in sneaky places, but mostly Wojess everywhere.
And this has been the Halcyon Frequency Podcast. We upload episodes every Sunday. Until this time next week, don't change that dial. This is Halcyon Frequency signing off.